6 mil. What up, farm? How you going? So today we were going to go out north, but we've had a bit much rain. It'll be a bit wet out there, so we might wait until after lunch to do that. But right now I'm actually heading for the shearing shed. Shearing is fast approaching, and as you heard me say in a recent video, a new shearing shed will not be ready for this year's shearing, unfortunately. So that means we've got to get in here and tidy this all up a bit. Look at that canola. That is taking off. Alright, so a little bit of history on this shearing shed. It didn't start life as a shearing shed, this thing. So this center section, like where you can see, not the lean-to out each side, this actually started life as the betting shed at the Lockhart Raceway, or the horse racing track, not far from here. When that race course closed down, the people who own this farm bought the shed, moved it to here, and converted it to a shearing shed. So it's a shed that's full of history, which is pretty cool. But anyway, the floor's starting to get a little bit wonky here, I guess you would say. So we had a broken board in here. We've actually gone through and put an extra 4x2 or whatever it is across underneath the floorboards, and that's just given it a lot of strength. So now we're just gonna screw this one in, and then we can start putting new boards in. Here we go, we've got our first board marked where to cut. Now it's time to cut it off. There we go. You'd hardly even know there was a hole in the floor there this morning. Right, so we did some fencing down here, just along there, put a gate in over there so that we can still get in and out of our garage while we're shearing. And we can have some sheep in a different paddock. I didn't do any filming of that. We straightened up another fence where I cut it, where I was sowing my lucerne in September last year. I thought all the lucerne had been eaten out, but we still found some growing, so that's good news. Now we're heading back to Dad's to get the trailer, because we've got to go and pick up some very exciting things. What's this? Alright, so we picked up our special delivery, but we've also picked up some lucerne seed. This is what we're going to sow where I was spraying the knockdown the other day. So I just measured another 5 mils of rain, so it's getting pretty wet around the place. We got the lucerne seed home last night. Well, through Alex's trampoline, you can see the ute parked in the shed. Now we're going to go and unload that into the barn. Right, so we got the loosened seed unloaded and we got these special deliveries unloaded. And if you're on Facebook or Instagram and you guessed what this package was and you guessed crop dividers, you were right. Big shout out to the guys from EK Enterprises and also Macintosh and Son, the Macintosh and Sons in Western Australia. They've set this up. Can't wait to get them on the Nitro and yeah, get into it. So for anyone who's not familiar with what crop dividers are, you see this little picture here. They're these little spikes, I guess you call it, that come out from the front of the wheel on the sprayer. And when you're spraying in a tall crop, what it actually does, it's like how Moses parted the Red Sea. It parts the crop, splits it to either side so the wheel can run through. And then once the wheel goes through, the crop falls back into place. And it helps you to not squash over so much crop, which it's hard enough growing crop, and it's always a shame to see it squished down. So these will definitely help that. Right, so now we're going to take the spreader and the tractor out north because they're the only crops that haven't been spread yet. And that's next on the list. Well, actually, it's not next on the list. Spraying those paddocks is next on the list. Here we go, made it out north. Time to go spraying, I think. Unless this rain is coming in. The clouds look like it might, but I'm not sure. We'll put some water in at least. Alright guys, what's up? So we're out here doing some spraying. It's been a few days since I did the last bit of video, but the wind has finally dropped enough and it's not raining, and so we're into it. Dad is also over there, you can see him. He is spreading some urea on this paddock. I'm knocking the broadleaves out at the moment. It's going good. It's looking really good for a pretty sandy paddock. Well, we got filled up, we got the paddock all done, and now it started raining. So that last little bit that I did, it definitely didn't have 4 hours rain fast on it, like 4 hours before it rained. So hopefully it still works. This shower kind of came out of the blue. Anyway, it's not very heavy. The dots are not joining up on the window. There's a few there. Anyway, we'll see. So that paddock that I was just on over there, that is actually the paddock that we disced in September last year. I'll link it up here somewhere. And now we're heading to paddock over that way, which is the paddock that we clay spread this year. Yeah. I'll link that there too. Alright, you would see the big bog marks out there. Well, we're out of it now. But it's rough out here. Rough and boggy. You'll remember that we delved this paddock, or the link's up here. And yeah, oh my goodness. It has made it soft. And it has made it rough, I tell you what. But anyway, we'll get through it. Hopefully it makes the crop grow good. Alright guys, so we made it back from out north. We're back at my place. We're spraying the broadleaves out of the wheat. You might be able to see on the tyres, it's very, very wet. Very, very, very wet. Anyway, we're about to get the drone up, see what it looks like from the air.
The final beat keeps going on, and the melody of my escape, vibration of my soul, it sends me to the peak. Can we find any light without the music around? There will always be one love on life. Without no love, you got no regret. Without no regret, you got no love. A melody where I belong in this life. In this life.
Alright, so we got finished over at my place. Now we're over the other side of the road on the lease block here. I thought we might have a little bit of a quiz. So let's do a weed ID. Let's see who can guess all the weeds. Now this will be a broadleaf weed quiz. This is vetch, and you can see it has broad leaves that come off of the stem like that. This is a wheat plant, and you can see how it all comes out the bottom. That's the difference between broadleaf and grass. Alright, let's get into this quiz. Weed number 1 is this. What is this? Let me just pick a leaf. Here we go. Come on, camera, focus. Here we go. Anyway, hopefully you can see that. Weed number 1. Weed number 2 is this guy. Oh, not that one. This one. See if you know what that one is. Weed number 3 is this one. Weed number 3. There we go. Weed number 3. Alright, so pause the video now. Comment down below. There's 3 weeds and see how many of them you get. And I'll tell you at the end of the video what they all were. Alright, so we got finished the wheat back over there, and now we are on to a grass spray on our vetch. So this is spraying the grasses out of a broadleaf crop. you'll be able to see some rows from the header, also some rows from where I sprayed a fungicide late in the season last year. But yeah, there's a lot of ryegrass in between. I'm still working on the ryegrass population in this paddock, but everything's a work in progress. Yeah. In about 2 weeks, all the grass will start looking yellow, and hopefully the vetch will get some sunshine and really start growing. I've finished spraying for the day, and now it's time to mow my lawn. This weed number 1, is Bifora. And if you pick a leaf and crunch it up, it smells like coriander. I hate coriander, so I'm not going to do it. This weed number 2, is bed straw. It's really sticky, and it's just another broadleaf weed. And weed number 3 here, this is clover, a type of clover. It's actually a medic, same kind of thing. Sometimes it's not a weed, but it's in our wheat crop, so we call it a weed. And we're going to spray it out.